Perfectionism is the enemy of progress and a killer of creativity. If you're anything like me, you've probably let hundreds, dozens, or hundreds of ideas escape you simply because you felt like they weren't good enough. How many projects have you started but gave up on because you felt like you didn't have the right equipment or the right resources to get them done? Probably an innumerable amount. Creativity can be your escape. Creativity can be an outlet out of the mundane. Creativity can give fulfillment. But if you let your perfectionism kill your creativity, you'll never know what you're capable of. I'm learning now the hard way that things do not have to be perfect. I do not have to create the perfect video. I don't have to edit the most perfect way. Things might just look raw sometimes, and that's fine. I'm growing comfortable with that, because perfectionism, my inner desire for things to come out exactly the way I thought them out and exactly the way I want them, or exactly the way I feel like someone else might do them, has stunted my growth. And it's stunted my growth throughout my life, period. Not just in this art form or in this aspect of my life. It's stunted my growth in a lot of areas of my life, because I've always told myself, I want to do this, but I might need this and this and this first. I've always been like that. Or an even more recent example, and an example that's affecting me as we speak right now, I've had this urge to purchase more and more equipment and gear to fulfill this inadequacy I feel when I make videos. Recently, this past weekend actually, I took a trip back home to Miami for Valentine's Day, me and my girlfriend. And on this trip, I essentially, I had this idea. I lost my train of thought. I had this idea, and this idea was to create a video where it started off with, it was going to be a travel vlog. That's what it's called. It was going to be like a series of cinematic sequences where I'm preparing to get ready for the trip and whatnot. And then I went on the trip, and then on the trip, as I was spending time with family and enjoying myself, I realized that I had this profound realization that my definition of home has always been skewed, and that the environment I grew up in, I used to deem it a prison. I used to call it a place where people felt and remained stuck. I come from Miami, Florida, and if you are familiar with Miami, Florida, you know that it's a place full of opportunity, and it's known to be a very great city. But being from there, I had a completely different outlook, a completely different perspective on what that city was, on what that city is. And after moving out and leaving, and I've been gone for maybe 7 months now, I've reframed my mindset on it completely. And to test that theory, I decided to take this trip to go back home and try to be as much of a tourist / visitor as I could. And I was right. The prison wasn't Miami. Miami was never the prison. I was my own prison guard. And I was going to have this whole profound video, about how you are your prison guard. And you are your prison guard and prisoner. But in prison guard slash prisoner fashion, I began to restrict myself. I began to close in on my creativity because I felt like I just wasn't good enough. These ideas I had that I plan on executing on this trip, I came to not do them because I felt like I didn't have the resources to execute it to the best of my capabilities. So I began to record, I began to, do the things I said I was going to do. But then midway, I just stopped. I just lost the desire to continue recording and doing the things I was doing the things I came to do. And by the end of the trip, I grew frustrated with myself because I saw what I did as cowardice. How could I come out here with this plan, this idea, but not execute it? It didn't make any sense to me. But then I realized that it was my perfectionism. My perfectionism killed my creativity in that moment. So in order to train myself against that, I came to a conclusion. I'm still going to put out that video, not in the manner at which I was planning on it, but this video that I'm recording right now and that video are going to be one and the same, because they are the same. I let the prisoner get to me. I let the victim complex get to me. I let the prison guard in me win. And I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to put this out, and this is going to be the audio in the background. It's going to be me talking about perfectionism. And I have a series of other videos that I recorded that I'm going to put on it too, because those videos were just sitting and dying in my storage, and they were just sitting there. I recorded a lot and I didn't do anything with it because I kept telling myself, nah, that idea isn't good enough. That isn't going to cut it. I'm not going to cut it for this idea or that idea. So, perfectionism. Do not let your perfectionism kill your art. Treat your art, no matter what it is, treat your art like your baby. Grow your baby. Feed your baby. Water your baby. Give your baby water. Make sure it's safe. Protect it. Because there are a lot of killers of creativity out there, and perfectionism is one of them. And I've just experienced that, and I don't want to experience that again. Obviously, it's going to be a lifelong battle, but I feel like now, once I get this over with, I'll be a lot better with that than I was before. Creativity helps give an escape from the mundane. Creativity gives fulfillment. Make sure you nurture your creativity. Make sure you don't let perfectionism kill it. Thank you for listening.